So, how does one become a patent examiner, and what is the training like, and what is the day to day like for a patent examiner? So, in my case, I applied to the USPTO to become a patent examiner, and I already was an attorney. Now, to be a patent examiner, you don't actually have to be an attorney, but you do have to have a technical background. So, engineering, chemistry, some type of biology, computer science, any of those are sufficient degrees to become a patent examiner. So in my case, I've got biology undergrad and I have a master's in chemical engineering. And I applied to the patent office and I had done a little bit of work on nanoparticles for my master's thesis. So the art unit that I applied to had a carbon nanotube specialty. And so when I met with the supervisory patent examiner, who was the person that interviewed me, the person making the hiring decisions, he was excited about, my background, and he wasn't particularly concerned that I was an attorney. A lot of times the patent examiners that are attorneys will go to the patent office for a couple of years and then go back to their role as an attorney, specifically a patent attorney. And that's exactly what I did. I was there for a couple of years. I got my experience. Um, but the SPE supervisory patent examiner that I interviewed with wasn't too worried about it, offered me the job. And so I went down to Carlisle, to Alexandria, Virginia, and I became a patent examiner for a couple of years, which gave me some really great background and education for my future role as a solo patent attorney. When I went down there, the training was a lot of fun. It was super intense. It was a couple of weeks of discussing the MPEP, which is Manual of Patent Examining Procedure. And I had just learned all of that information because I had just taken the patent bar. Um, so for me, it was a really nice, solid review of things that I had already learned. And then after a couple of weeks of being in the same classroom with the same people, they let us out into the wild. So we get our offices, we get our computers, and it had the double monitors so that we could do all the prior art searching. Um, and I had an office mate at the time. And so from there, you get, the patent application that you need to examine. You read it to make sure that you understand the technology. You take a look at the claims to see what is actually required in order to search what is called the prior art. Those are other patents or non-patent literature that is already out there, that people know about, to see whether, this invention that's before you is novel and non-obvious. So you look at the claims, you make a determination on what's required. You look at the literature and the prior art to see what's already out there. And then in most cases, you do make a rejection. And either under novelty or non-obviousness, that goes out to the inventor or the patent attorney that's representing the inventor. They usually come back and they amend the claims and make some arguments, and you look at it and you say, okay, I'm comfortable with allowing this as a United States patent. And then you send out the allowance, and then somebody out there gets a patent and they're very, very happy. So that's kind of the life of a patent examiner. It was a really interesting couple of years for me. I got so much experience. I have a really good understanding of how to draft patent claims because of that. And it was a really wonderful job. I think at this point they have changed it so that you don't have to be on site as much. The patent examiners are able to work remotely. I think the patent office was actually one of the first employers that started allowing that, even well before the pandemic. So they've got the technology down, and so patent examiners can kind of work from anywhere. And same is true with solo attorneys. We can kind of work from anywhere. So I hope this has been interesting, a little insight into patent examination.